My name is Miriam Ramos. I am 22 years old. I became a U.S. citizen back in March of 2020. Um, I graduated from Grand Canyon University with a bachelor's degree in healthcare administration. My grandfather was the main person in which I thank him for bringing me to this country. When he was young, he came to the United States as an immigrant looking for a job. And as the years passed by, he applied for his residency. After he became a US resident, he then helped my uncles and aunts to become residents as well. And then eventually they became citizens. To this day, I remember the struggles not only that my grandfather went through, but also the struggles that I had to face, which was the language barrier that I had in my middle school and high school years. Um, I spent long nights where I had to study hard in order to learn English and in order to be able to excel in all my classes throughout middle school and high school.
So, as someone that's already gone through the naturalization process, what would you say to someone who's considering naturalizing?
So I would recommend that anyone who has like that is able to become a resident, that they should apply for citizenship and study like all the 100 questions with their friends and family members, and to consider that also consider being citizens in the United States, because being a U.S. citizen comes with more benefits. For example, being able to vote.
Do you think you could share with us how you prepared for your interview? Did you study yourself or did someone help you study?
So I have a sister that's also gonna be a U.S. citizen soon. So she helped me study like I think a month before my interview, and we went over the because I had made flashcards, so we went over each question. That way, I was like really prepared for my interview.
So, going into the interview, how did you feel and what did you feel after the interview?
So before the interview, when I went to do my fingerprinting, they gave me the book, and I knew that the interview was gonna come anytime soon, even though it took like about 8 months. But I knew like the day would come. And when I got the letter for the interview, I went into my interview ready for the answers, all the questions that needed to be answered. And when I was in the interview, I only had a few questions to answer. So I was like, it was such a relief. Like right after that, they had told me that I was ready to be a U.S. citizen. I just had to attend my ceremony. And right after, I registered to vote. Once I received a letter where it said that I needed to register to vote. So what encouraged me to vote is that I have a voice in the election. Choosing a president will be based on who will I want to serve as a leader in the United States. Not only do I have the power of voting for a president, but for the laws as well, which are very important to everybody in the United States.
Once you passed the citizenship test or the interview, you registered to vote. Um, how did it feel knowing that you could sign those voter registration papers? And now, looking back, we're about like 5 months after March. How prepared do you feel to vote this upcoming November?
I feel prepared now that I've been informed and have done my research on what will be on the ballot and who are the candidates, and then where's also my new polling place, um, and just basically knowing my rights when it comes to voting.
Why is it important for newly naturalized citizens like you to go out and vote?
It is important that new citizens vote in the upcoming elections, because there's a lot of people who always want to vote, and then they don't have like well, since they're immigrants, they don't have a voice that is being heard. So on becoming a U.S. citizen, it is important to register to vote because they have the opportunity to being able to vote and represent their interests, culture, and ideas as a way to bring new viewpoints to American policy and politics. It is very important because it also relates to the controversial issues that are major concern in the society today.
Someone that now has the opportunity and the privilege of voting, what would you say to someone who is eligible to vote but hasn't registered?
So if I came across someone that is eligible to vote but does not vote in the election, I would personally find ways to motivate people to vote so that they know that their voice is very important when it comes to voting in the elections.
You've been working with Promise for some time now. Do you want to share what you've done? And
So I've been working with Promise for a few weeks now as the data manager, and I've been in charge of managing all the data from phone banking, making sure that the volunteers that make the calls, how many calls are they being answered, information that whether they've done their census, they're willing to vote, or are committed to vote. The mission statement explains how Promise Arizona is a faith-based organization that relies on members and volunteers to help build young community leaders and to create positive change in Arizona. Therefore, as a data manager, I'm willing to volunteer to help immigrants receive what they deserve to have in order to continue to pursue their dreams in the United States.